All right, welcome Sci-Fi Express Lane, Jeff Carroll. Today's topic is kind of explaining what I'm saying about black writers and white stories in film, comic books, and books. All right, like, subscribe, share, comment. Let's get it in. My name is Jeff Carroll. Welcome to Sci-Fi Express Lane. This weekend, I saw the amazing story, Megan. And when I posted about wishing that Megan would have been a black written story or a, how do we say, because we get all these subdivisions and it goes crazy, but a story written with from a black character and community perspective. And I've talked about how changing the ethnicity of the character, specifically the main character, but actually any character, changes the whole the whole energy, not necessarily the energy, but a lot of aspects of the film. And I think it's important for a number of reasons. One, we can't keep seeing everything through the lens of white characters, right? And it's not like it was told through the lens of an Indian American or an Asian American or a Latino American or any specific ethnic group, right? Most of the time, these stories are default white Americans, and sometimes they'll do Jewish, but most of the time it's default white. If it's Italian, it's a mob picture or something like that, but most of them is default white. And I think sometimes that I guess is appropriate if it's a Game of Thrones story, but for the most part it can be told through different racial perspectives, and I think that will add spice to a lot of these to science fiction in general, right? Not to say science fiction is dead, but when it comes to horror, even science fiction books, it gets a little stale sometimes when everything is told through a default white perspective. And shout out to God, I'm going to say her name wrong. I'm actually going to put it in the comments. I think it's Alicia Cooper. No, it's not Alicia. So she's the writer for Megan. She also wrote Malignant from a year ago. And Malignant, I'm gonna even say Megan, are like some of my top favorite horror films, in the sense that they represent the pacing that was really classic in grindhouse stories. And with something like Megan, it's like it does it better, and I mean, not Megan, well, Megan too, but with Malignant, it does it so well. It's better than the old time classic stories, even though it mimics their style or pacing and storytelling. It does it better, so shout out to her with those, two films that I've seen, especially in recent times. She's my favorite horror writer right now, and in contingent to be my favorite horror writer of all time, because I don't even know if I ever had one in terms of film. So yeah, she's definitely there. I love Malignant. What I liked about it, and same thing with Megan, sort of in audience theaters, and it wasn't just in a theater where I was the only one in the audience, but they had audience reaction storytelling. So there was times in there that it was appropriate for the audience, and it was written for the audience to react. Megan had a scene in the story, in the film, where the audience was singing along with her. I was like, oh my God. And you couldn't get that. You can't get that streaming. You can't get that in your house. So I'll just go back and say, with black writers, right? I think it's going to be the death of Hollywood in the sense of what Hollywood has represented before, because I think Hollywood doesn't understand what is going on and its real potential. There are some serious black writers out here. Now, can any writer write outside their ethnicity? We do it all the time when we have multicultural stories. We're writing different characters. Can we do all stories with all white? You've seen Underworld. You know what I'm saying? You've seen, how now you can go look at Megan, how well black writers can write white characters and stories with all white people. And white people can do the same, but there is an element of, I guess, a writer writing within their culture that sometimes is really best for a writer to write within their culture. In some aspects. See, film is collaborative a little bit, so there's ways to cheat, especially if you're writing something from another culture. You get the pronunciations better. Sometimes the characters make comments, so they help out a lot. So yeah, even though it might be this writer per se, the actors, sometimes even the directors throw in. I think that was the case with The Woman King. Not only was it the director, but the producers jumped in. Viola Davis and them jumped in, and of course, I'm sure some of the actors, they also jumped in to make that story have a more authentic feel. Although it was a screenplay written by two white women, it came off as authentic, as amazingly authentic. So I think that's possible, but I do think writers writing within their ethnicity or race is a different game. I think they think of different stories to tell. I think they tell them from a different perspective, and I'm not going to say one is totally better than the other or one eliminates the other. No, what I am saying is I want to see more black stories. I don't care how it gets there, whether they are black people produced by Hollywood or black people independently producing them and taking them to theaters and stuff like that. I want to see them on the theatrical level. We've seen, because it's a different feel. It's too many, like my movies, I got The Black Nun, I got Gold Digger Killer. I got to, rent out theaters to get a theatrical experience for my pictures. I'm writing B-movie energy. That's why I like Alicia Cooper. I'm going to say Alicia Cooper. I know that's not her name. Godly. I'm mispronouncing it. And I actually need to hear it pronounced because the way I'm reading it, Akela is not right. I'm going to mess it all up. Anyway, she writes with the B-movie feel. Forget all of that M. Night Shyamalan suspense. No disrespect to Jordan Peele, but as punchy as Get Out was, you don't leave us without punches like Us. Punch that up, make it, give us those cheesy, silly, over the top kill scenes. Go there. Your audience will appreciate it. You understand? Go cliche, make it funny. It's all good. But sometimes, that M. Night Shyamalan, maybe they just don't know how to write comedy. And I always tell people drama is a lot easier for people to write because we all experience drama. But not everybody experiences comedy. You understand? And comedy is it's very tricky. So for, Megan to have her comedic scenes or pull on comedic elements is amazing. I thought Megan was better than Chucky. I thought Megan was better than, Child's Play. I thought Megan was better than, what's the name of it? Ex Machina, right? Why do I think that? Well, Chucky was corny. It had corny jokes in it. It was a beautiful doll setup, and that was amazing. And that carried it through the whole thing. People just wanted to see it. It was like the Leprechaun. We heard about the Leprechaun. Ain't nobody make no other Leprechaun movies. So that Leprechaun is the one that we get to see the Leprechaun in. and they exploit it. But the jokes was corny. The story and the people that how they get there, Chucky just gets cornier and cornier. But he's living off the fact that it's a little doll, and people are scared of little dolls, and they had a great concept. But he's not nowhere as good as Freddy, Jason, and Michael. Forget it. He's not as good as Texas Chainsaw Massacre with Leatherface. That's not happening. Chucky is below the Leprechaun. You know, he's not on the level of Frankenstein, Dracula, and the Wolfman, or the Mummy. Forget it. But you know, going back to what I'm saying, we will tolerate like a lot. Here's another thing, right? And maybe I should do a separate blog on it, but I think I got enough time. The defense was, oh, okay, people are playing chess to get to Hollywood, so that Hollywood will buy your script and do your story. And I'm always good for that, yes. But man, I was just watching Wayward Witches or something like that, Anne Rice's story, and they said something that was a contrary to playing chess, because although you want to be the spook who sat by the door and you want to rip it out, you might have to destroy Hollywood like the spook had to destroy America to get them to see it your way. However, you know, sometimes it's not going to happen. I think of Underworld, perfect example. You know, from the very first Underworld, I was like, all right, I know this is a black writer. I'm waiting to see the black werewolf. When is he coming around? And it never happened. The black werewolf never got anything. And this was character played by the writer. And I don't know what happened to it. I don't know why. Maybe the writer didn't even want to go down that route. But I do know as a fan, that's what I wanted to see. The character had no backstory. It popped out of nowhere. I mean, in the second movie, he got a little bit of backstory, but even that was more visual than probably the story being told. We wanted to see that. And not in a comic book, not in a tie-in novel. We got nothing. And is that what we're supposed to be waiting for? They did 4 or 5 Underworld movies, and it got corny towards the end, right? The first 2 was amazing. I don't even throw the first 3 in there, but after that, it started getting watered down, and you're like, well, dang, how much chess are you going to play? And I'm not using that as a only, you know, but, you know, we hear that argument all the time. Yo, playing chess. And everybody's not a Jordan Peele, everybody's not a Tyler Perry, right? So some of us do have to come up, and that's a beautiful come-up story. I wrote for them, I wrote some beautiful hits, then they believed in me. But sometimes they just exploit you and use you, and they don't even believe in you. So I don't know, but I'll say this, Hollywood days are sort of numbered, because it's pretty much obvious racism as to why these writers are not getting their stories produced, right? So I look at what happened in the music industry. They kept putting people to the side. As much as the music industry expanded around the country, and we had record companies in Chicago, Atlanta, Miami, and they was all hitting Texas, and it was not just New York and LA. They still had some of the similar sounds. Until YouTube and technology did we see something like Justin Bieber, and then we had Chance the Rapper, and these guys was like, I don't even need a record company. And once that avalanche hit, we don't even have artists submitting demo tapes. They're putting their demo tapes right on YouTube, right on Spotify, and getting a 1 million, 2 million hits, and people's buying it for $1.50, whatever. These cats is rolling in money, you know, whereas they would have been broke. You know, a single coming from a record company, please, it could do 2 million. You know, I don't even know if that's gold, right? And you still not seeing anything. You just gotta go on concerts. Now, mind you, these dollar download recording artists, they can't go on tour as much, but at least they got their money. Because sometimes touring wears you out, and it's a cycle where the company says, oh, let's get ready, you got to do another album, and next thing you know, you're in debt. You're feeding off of these tours, whereas if you can do a second album on an independent artist, the way these kids make it look like, yo, you got money, these cats is rolling in dough. Very first little hint of a record, they're doing it. Film is going to do the same thing. Sure, it's a little bit harder to make a film than it is to make a record, but the film industry is about to be there. When YouTube first started letting people put movies up, it wasn't really a money stream to it. But now, Tubi is a money stream. And it's really cornering the market. There's other streaming platforms that are going to come and be like, yo, put your movie up and get commercials, or we'll pay you from views or whatever. We don't have a subscription fee, so we do ours through commercials, and that's going to be the new way to go. And I think somebody like Will Smith is going to be like, I could never get this story done until these Asian investors came in, and I put my movie up there on Hulu like Prey. And y'all don't think it can be done, but I'm thinking it's going to be there, because it's not the production company that sells the movie. MGM, Paramount, Universal, all of these, Bad Robot, Angry Robot, whatever it is, they don't sell the picture. The picture gets sold by the actors, the story, some even the artwork, and all of that's freelanceable. All of that's freelanceable. Yeah, even special effects is freelanceable. When you look at these Indian Bollywood films, they got special effects. When you look at these Chinese movies, they've got special effects. So sure, they speak another language and it might be a little hard to do the production, but believe me, there's independent special effects houses in America, and somebody's going to team up with somebody on a bigger scale and get this done. Hollywood is going to lose their monopoly because of that, because they overlooked writers like Alicia Cooper, which I say her name wrong, forgive me, the Kevin Garivas's of the world. They're overlooking these people and they hiring them to write white stories when diversity will sell. You wouldn't have seen it in Will Smith, who did I, Robot. He did I Am Legend. He did Independence Day. He did Wild Wild West. Octavia Spencer did the Ma. So these stories were all white characters. They did excellent even when they switched it to black characters. And in the case of Will Smith, they did phenomenally better. And this movie, Megan, had a girl in there from Get Out who is okay, but she's no better than a Megan Good. She's no better than any of these other female actors. Get somebody from the cast of, what do you call it, The Best Man. You get Shelby some light. But anyway, let me get out of here. I'm way over time. I've been meaning to talk about this, and like I said, thank you for checking me out. I say things that may get me canceled, may get a lot of people to comment, be like, oh my God, why is he saying that? Can't black writers write black characters for once? Oh my God, that people was ready for me. But like, subscribe, share, and comment. All right, peace.